Welcome to another episode of the Talking with Top podcast. I'm your host, Todd Carter, where I have conversations with extraordinary people who are making a difference in their communities. Today's episode is sponsored by 93 Michi Beats. Forget your producer, my beats are made by Michi. Today on the show, we have our special guest, Miss Yolonda Mckenzie.
Hello.
Hey. Miss Yolonda is the CEO and founder of Lady Zinhas LLC. Also, she is the host of Sip and Talk podcast, and she is also the founder and CEO of Queens Talk TV.
Yes.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and interview with me. I appreciate it. All right. So before we jump in, tell everybody where are you from?
So I was originally born in Gary, Indiana, but I reside in Minnesota. I've been here since I was a little girl. I think we moved here when I was at the age of 4 or 5.
Okay. Awesome. I'm from Alabama. Here, born and raised in Birmingham. All right. So we will get to it. What makes an successful entrepreneur?
Consistency, being able to invest, sticking to your goal, and professionalism.
Absolutely. Definitely. You definitely have to not give up and be professional, because a lot of times when I'm looking at businesses and things like that, if they're not being professional, then sometime I won't do business with them, just depending on, if I am corresponding with them and they don't follow up with email or a call and things like that, then I feel like, okay, you're not serious. So then I don't.
Yeah, communication is a plus.
Right. So what inspired you to start your own TV network?
So what inspired me to start the network, as well as all the other businesses that I've started, is my nonprofit. So I started my nonprofit in 2020, but I have not been able to get the funding for the resources and things that I am trying to incorporate into my nonprofit. So I was like, well, I'll just come up with ways that I can try to fund, make money to fund the nonprofit. So first I started off with the podcast, which is Sip and Talk with Miss Yolonda. I monetized, but I haven't monetized enough to fund it. So then came up with, I also have an online business called Clatchet Accessories and Fashion. My clothing brand that I will be dropping sometime this year, Clatchet. It's a women's clothing line. I started that as well with the hopes of bringing in streaming the income to fund the nonprofit. And then I came up with the TV network for a couple of different reasons. The main one is to try to fund the nonprofit, but also to give content creators, producers, TV production people the chance to utilize their skills and talents, bring exposure to their brand, and also to put my show and TV, TV shows and things like that on the network as well. My podcast, Sip and Talk with Miss Londa, will soon be turning into an actual talk show, which is something that I've always wanted to do. Like, I always watch Jenny Jones. I used to watch Oprah, Montel, all of those. And I always I wish I could sit on a couch and talk to people. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's my goal. And that's what I'm working on now, is turning it into a talk show. So, yeah.
Have you ever seek some type of grant writing? Because I know that usually when people are trying to find businesses, they use grant writers. So have you done that?
So I finally found someone that was willing to work with me with my income, because, they charge $2,000, even just for sponsorship, to even get the knowledge to get sponsorship. They're charging anywhere from 5,000 on up. So I finally was able to start working with someone. She does the grant proposals for me. She applies for the grants for me because she knows how to use the right verbiage. I think that probably was part of my problem, is that I wasn't using the correct verbiage. So yes, I finally found someone that's, helping me with that.
Okay, because I know I have one of my sorority sisters, she does that. And I just know that that's a way to get funding. So I just wanted to make sure that you were looking down that avenue for funding.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things I was wondering, like, how is she funding this? It's one of the things um, that I was curious about too. Um, I always want to help
Thank you.
figure out, ways to make other people's dreams come true as well as my own. All right. So how did you find your TV show or your movie? Like, how did you find your first one?
So I was on Facebook and I saw the person who has their TV shows on my network, which is CMGS 2911. They have their own network and brand, and they were posting looking for networks to put their shows and stuff on. And I reached out to them. I had just kind of just started my network, was just barely learning to run it, but I reached out to them, and we decided, like, he decided, yes, we would like to work with you and put our network on, your channel, on your, network on Queens Talk. So that's how I
That's
found it.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I mean, I love to see people chasing their dreams, which this is something that I started that I'm just having an amazing time. The networking and things like that that goes on is amazing. Like when it's so many people out there that are willing to help.
Yeah,
I
you just
feel like
have to keep networking, step outside of your inner circle, and just keep pushing, step out. I'm on just about every platform. I'm on Clubhouse, I'm on Fan Base, I'm on, I'm in rooms, I'm running rooms late night, talking to people, just networking with different people.
right. I do the same. I was up the other night, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm still, looking at stuff. And I was up last night at 12 a.m. And then I'm looking at someone else who's in the business as well. He was up on a live and people was jumping in on the live at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So when you have that hustle and you have something that you're trying to do, you don't sleep. It's like you eat, breathe it every day. And so I always tell people, now since I have this podcast, is that I touch it every day. Like I was took a call in the car on my way home because I knew I didn't have nowhere else to put it, literally, because I was coming straight from work to come and do this interview with you. And so I carved out a time to talk to another person while I'm on my drive, because it's like, once I get finished, I got some other things to do behind the scenes. So I magnetize every hour in the day, but I make sure that I touch it every day.
Yeah.
You just cannot. So how do you want to impact the world with your podcast? And I guess you touched on it a little bit when you said that you want to turn it into a talk show, but just tell us, how do you want to impact the world?
So basically, the platform that I've created is a platform where I want people to be able to come and have those discussions that a lot of people are afraid to have. And I want them to be able to feel comfortable enough and transparent enough to have those discussions without feeling like they're going to be judged.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I share that with you too, because that's the whole reason for this platform that I created. It is to inspire and to empower, other people, and also to share those stories where, just like you kind of said earlier, you went into some roadblocks, but you keeping, your vision ahead of you and you strive. And so those are the stories that I want to tell as well, just showing that people are out here living their dreams, but they're also overcoming setbacks and heartbreak and all type of things. So those are the people that I choose as well. So I just want to impact, help others on their journey in terms of finding their purpose in life. All right, so my next question is, what's been your most successful marketing campaign or tactic?
So I say getting from behind the computer and getting outside networking. Because, you can post and post and post on social media, even though people see it, they may not reach out. But you also have to get from behind the computer and show them too, like going to these events, going to these pop-up shops. I just attended the premiere party for the guy who has his show on the network. And I was able to, get some connections, but I was able to get some footage to show that, hey, I'm out here. This is real. I'm really doing this. And I'm really looking for content creators and want to give people that chance. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still like old school. Like I believe in still going and hanging up flyers, like at the bus stops or put them in restaurants on people's cars. I'm still with the old school networking too. So.
Absolutely. I'm still going to get me some business cards. So while I'm at work, I will run out there and, pass them out. So that still works too. You have to just brand yourself and put yourself out there as much as you can and by every means. As I always tell people, I don't allow anyone to have any moments in my space right now without telling them about what it is that I do. And because if I'm going to have a conversation, I'm going to work it in there. What I do and things like that. It's just, you have to, you can't, what's the use of, having a conversation with someone now? This is what I say. I tell other podcast people too, who are trying to build their subscribers and things like that. Don't allow anyone to chit chat with you without letting them know what you do.
Right.
It's the way to network. So absolutely. All right. So how have you evolved or changed since you started in media?
So since I started in media, it has helped me with my communication. Like I wasn't a big communicator. I wasn't big on sharing my thoughts and opinions openly and feeling comfortable about it. And it's also helped me to be able to realize that I can stop and hear other people's opinions. And, you can agree to disagree respectfully, So that's where it's helped me and helped me to evolve.
Right. Absolutely. That's awesome. And I think just once you get out and you start communicating and talking to other people and, whether you're encouraging them or they're encouraging you, it's just like you do evolve. You have growth, you learn some new things and pass things on to other people. So yeah, absolutely. All right. So how do you stay motivated when things get tough in your business?
By remembering my main goal, which is to fund my nonprofit. And pretty much that's my main purpose.
Gotcha. And so tell me a little bit more about what is it that you want to do in your nonprofit since?
So my nonprofit is geared towards single families and teen girls. My main goal though is really to help teen girls. I have a program called TAPS, which is Teens Aiming for Success. This is a program that they will come through and they will get education, employment skills, etiquette, budgeting, all of that. There are steps that they have to take and go through each program in this program, the way I'm designing it. But the incentive at the end is to be able to put them in an apartment. So it will be for girls ages 16 to 21, be able to put them in the apartment, pay their first month's rent and deposit, be able to set them up with some type of furniture voucher and household essentials. Now coming through the program, once they have came through the program, they're already working. So we want to make sure that when they get an apartment, they're going to be able to keep their job. So we want to continuously keep them with transportation. May it be we have a van funded that we can pick them up and take them to work, or we're giving them a monthly bus pass. If you run out of food, we want to be able to have a food shelf where you could come and get food, household essentials. We want to make sure that those girls keep that stability. And my main goal is to really help runaways and girls aging out of the foster care system, because when a lot of times when they age out of the foster system, they're 18 and there's no plan in place.
Right.
So if you're in foster care and you're 16, you come through our program. By the time you age out of foster care, you're set up for stability. And this will stop a lot of, I ain't gonna say it'll stop it all, but it will kind of stop sex trafficking, because who do they go for the most? Girls in foster care, girls who run away, they have nobody else. Those are the ones they prey on. So if we can kind of like come up with a program like that will help these girls be able to stay off the street and be safe and have a safe haven, that's my goal it also is going to, my hope is to also start a group home and still incorporate TAFs into that. So if girls are in that group home, I will have them go through the program. By the time they leave the group home, if we are not able to connect the family, connect them back with the family, work some type of mediation out where they can go back home and be at home. But if they end up staying in the group home, we want to make sure that they're going to be stable when they leave the group home.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's one of my dreams as well. It seems like a lot of our stuff aligns. I guess we having the same heart for, helping others and things like that. But one of the things that I want to do, which I haven't done anything, is that I always feel like, we have programs for people when they don't have money, like say, like when you're talking like girls in foster care, aging out and things like that. But I wanted to create something for women where it helps that woman who's working, but she had something to happen, which means that, yes, I'm working, but I just need a little extra help, because I feel like that's a whole group of women and men too that falls through the crack, because it's like, yes, I have a job and I'm paying my bills, but one paycheck, or just say if the car breaks down, or for some whatever reason somebody gets sick and they weren't going to work as much, and then it's time to pay the rent and they don't have enough. Yeah. I want to create something for a person who is doing everything they can to stay afloat, but something happened and they don't have anybody else to, or they have exhausted, just say like their family, when they have went to them is, repeatedly after months, and then it's just like, okay, I gotta find somebody to help me, and I done ran out of options. I feel like it's a lot of people in that type of situation where as they don't qualify for stamps, for food stamps, they don't qualify for the stuff, but yet they still have a need, and it's nothing really in place to help a person who doing their very best, but just need a little help.
And so, when I said single families, that's kind of, those are the type of resources that I wanted to offer to single families, because I have 4 kids. I raised 4 kids. I was a single mom and I worked. But there were those times, like you said, where you got paid, you paid your rent, you paid your light bill, maybe your phone bill, but you probably just barely got enough money to make it to work for those next 2 weeks, but something else then took place, or and then I don't know, like, because I remember I used to get like help with like utility help and stuff like that, but a lot of times I didn't qualify because I worked, because I made this much, and it was, so I don't know if I can make a change in that. Like, if I offer these services, I don't want to cut it off because she went $3 over, right. I don't know if I'm getting government funding, I may have to go by their guidelines regardless, but absolutely. A lot of times that just really kind of sucked, because it was like, this is not a situation where I just wasn't paying my bill. Right. What I'm saying? Sometimes they just barely meet. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just a whole nother thing where people need, and I think it goes unnoticed. Yeah. All right. So now, on a personal note, what do people misunderstand about you the most?
My creativity, my requirements. People, they don't understand the way I do things, and a lot of people kind of take it the wrong way. Oh, if you got these requirements, it's because you think you're better. No, it's not that. It's because when I do something, I've already set a vision in my head. And so now, once I've set the vision in my head, now it's time to act it out. Mm-hmm. And I already know how I want it to go. So I have certain requirements in place. And a lot of times people are offended by that, and they don't understand the reason for me, doing these things.
Okay. So you don't have a problem with delegating. You're just saying that you just have a certain level of commitment and requirement that you want them to have when they are collaborating with you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So like, for instance, I've had a lot of issues since I've started podcasting. Like, this right here is perfect. The way you're set up, the way I'm set up, to me, this is how it should be. in my mind. But I've had a lot of issues with, I tell people, like when I do interviews, I'll send them and tell them my requirements, which is make sure you have good lighting, make sure your background is good. There's nobody walking back and forth in your background, nobody on camera but you know, no background noise. I also don't allow bonnets and pajamas, and I don't allow smoking on camera, you know, but people take that to be, you think you're better than you. It's not that. It's professional for me. I already knew from the door in where I wanted to take my show. Like I said, I want to turn it into a talk show. I don't remember Montel rolling up and smoking with guests on, you know what I mean? I just don't remember any of that. So this is how, but if there's other shows out here that would allow you to do that, just either respect my requirements or go to one of those shows. But this is why. And then also I have a nonprofit. I have an image that I want to also put out there. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I never thought about telling someone requirements. So far, I haven't had any experience where the lighting was wrong or if they were smoking or anything like that. I never thought about it.
So I didn't have those requirements coming through the door. A lot of my requirements came from when I would do podcasts. I would always go back and watch my shows later, and then I would see like those little things, like, you know, or, you know, once somebody's on camera, if somebody turns on their camera and they're in full pajamas and a bonnet, then you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we're already live. You know what I'm saying? Or I've had people come on and they're in their cars and it's dark. You can barely see them. To me, that's not what I want. I want the viewers to be able to see who's talking, who's on camera with me. I don't, you know, I just want professionalism.
Right. Absolutely. And I've seen some incidents, but it hasn't been quite that way. It has been where it worked out. But that gave me something to think about. So going forward, because I do watch mine as well. And it's like I'll look at things that I know that I need to improve on. And just some more little things that I'm working on to make it look better. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I get that. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a look that you want yours to have to show, you know, that you're a professional. So yeah, absolutely. And right, and you're the only one to, so like, and because it is your show, then yes, you have the right to want it done a certain way. So I agree, absolutely. All right, a little bit more personal. Okay. If you could reset your life and start over, what would you do differently?
I would have furthered education, number one. I probably would have waited to have kids. And then after having kids, though, I probably would have raised them on entrepreneurship as well. I wouldn't, and then as far as myself, I probably would have gotten into entrepreneurship sooner than now, because, you know, it's very important to me. I think that, because look, I haven't worked since 2020. I used to work at Culver's, a restaurant. It's a burger restaurant here. And I used to put my all in, and all I would get was, oh, we love having you. You do a great job. Thank you. You are always picking up shit. You know, you get that. But when I go for supervisor, you find a reason why I don't qualify to go any further. So I'm like, you know, I just don't want to go back to working for anybody and giving them all my energy. And all I get is, we love you. You do a good job, but I can't expand. So right. I'll start my own business. So.
Right. Yeah. That, you know what, and you're absolutely right. And so let me just say this. It doesn't matter whether you have a degree or not, because I have one and I still have worked on jobs, and it has been hard to get to the next level that you're wanting to go, or, you know, when you think you should. So it's always a challenge. It doesn't matter where you are, whether it's corporate, fast food, or whatever. Now, I will say, when I first got out of high school, I did start entrepreneurship because I went to cosmetology school and I started doing hair. And when I look back on my life, I said, I probably shouldn't have stopped doing that. I just should have added to that, you know, but that was a good thing. And the way they have advanced now with the things that they do now, is like, they go so far with hair. I mean, with owning a salon. And so I did start out as an entrepreneur because I did know I really didn't want a boss. But
Mhm.
then I decided I was about, money wasn't coming in exactly the way I wanted it to. And so I was thinking I wanted to move out, and I ended up getting a bank job. And then once I did that, then it was kind of like, okay, you start having bills, and next thing you know, it's like I left that to go do something else. And so when I look back on it, I was like, I should have never jumped over to working for somebody else. I should have stayed on the path of working for myself.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have done over. Oh my God, we went through these questions really fast. All right. So now it's time in the show where we will share our gratitude statement. And as always on the episode, I would like to say, I am just thankful in this moment for opportunities. I've been have some amazing people that I've been meeting and networking with. And so I'm just thankful for that, because I believe that what I am doing is, if it don't help, and I was talking to a lady today, Sarah, I said, if it don't help nothing but one person, then I feel like I have accomplished what it is that I am wanting to do, is just help someone, you know, in life.
Yeah.
So what about you?
So number one, God, for
Absolutely.
continuously to show me you got to keep going, because there's been times where I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to do it. This is too much. But then it's like something says, get back up and do it again. Keep doing it. So God, number one. And I'm also thankful for the people who have been supporting me from my very first endeavor all the way up until now. Sometimes you get people, it's like, she's been doing this for this long. She's not nowhere. She ain't never going to make it. But obviously, if they're still here and they're still showing up, supporting me, whether it's when I go live, they're in the comments. If
Right.
I decide I want to throw an event and give stuff away for the nonprofit, they're showing up, they're putting on my t-shirts, they're helping me, they're buying stuff from my website.
Mm-hmm.
That that shows me that they believe in me.
Right.
So that furthermore is what really keeps me going, is those people still being there and still supporting and saying, you got this, you'll figure it out, you'll get it, you got it, you know what I'm saying? That helps.
It does. And as you were saying that, and I would just tell this little story. I thought about my family on my dad's side, because I run our family reunion. And when I started back in, well, I'm about to date myself, but I started really in the 90s with another family member. But when I really was able to be successful with it was in like the early 2000s. I was able to restart it back after, I think, about 14 years where it had just laid dormant, when no one had touched it because it was done by somebody else. But I would say that from the support of my family, they really helped me to pull it off. I couldn't do it by myself. And so I had to get my whole family behind me. But once I did, and it's like two sides that we do it, everybody supported me and we had such a great time. So when people support you, it makes a difference, because I think my first reunion that I did, I probably had close to 200 people to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was very, good to accomplish at such a younger age. And I still do it today. We don't do it as often, but I'm still doing it. And so, yeah, you have to have support,
Yeah.
from family, friends. But what I have experienced recently is a lot of times you will get support from people that you don't even know.
Yeah, a
Those
lot
would
of
be the
my
people that support.
support have
Yeah.
came from a lot of different people that I didn't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've met, like right now I work with a guy who he's more or less like a consultant. And because of him is where I've really started getting the little attention that I'm getting. He came along and said, I see what you're doing. I like what you're doing. But what's happening is, and it's good that you're posting on Facebook, but it's kind of in a circle. So it's kind of like you got the right idea, but we need to figure out what we need to do is we need to change up some stuff because we want people to see you. And
Right.
when I first talked to him, he calls it the bargaining. I was kind of seeming like I had to give incentives to get people to work with me. And he's like, before it's all over, you are going to get that bargaining out of you. What we're going to do is we're going to create something that when people see it, they're going to want to reach out to you and want to be a part of it. You're not going to have to go to people and feel like you have to cut deals and this and, so since I've been working with him, that's been helping. And I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, because you ain't got to beg anybody. You just have to know what you do. And that's one of the things that because I may not always get a lot of views and things like that, but I know the audience that appreciate the stories that I'm bringing. And so you can't worry about trying to attract everybody, because it's like we got to understand that we're not going to be for everybody, but for the ones who do get us, it's an audience out there. It's somebody who wants to see it. So that's one of the things that I had to understand. When you look at it that way, then you know that your audience is going to be your audience. And see, I can't have your audience because we're unique. And so, which means that I can't do what you do and you can't do what I do, because we're not going to do it the same. And so we're going to attract different people. So when you look at it that way, and then just knowing that, yeah, I'm not going to bargain with anybody. People that get it, they'll get it, and they'll see the value in what you're bringing and not want you to discount it, or like you say, like he's saying, bargaining with them. So yeah, absolutely. But that takes, being around other people who think, differently, and then it just help you to think differently and also to move differently. But it comes from developing a team. And that's one of the things that I had to do in here, because I can't do anything by myself. So I develop a team, and I write down every person that's on my team and what it is that they do within the role and things like that. Just knowing that I don't have to do everything myself takes the load off and makes it where I can lean on other people and grow. And
let me ask you, how do you build your team, and do you have like issues building your team?
Do I have what now?
Issues like building a team?
Yeah, because you can start out with some people and it may not work out. And then you just have to go back to the drawing board. But I think what's helping me to build my team is God, because what literally is happening is that when I have to reposition, God will have someone else that'll come right in that's more in line to what it is that I want to do and the purpose that is for me. So what I'm learning, and I just told this to a lady today, is that in this season, I attract good things. I attract good people. I mean, literally, I have been doing just that. And I want to say something about my last interview. It's an actor. His name is Tyrone Betters. When I tell you, this young man spoke so many gems in our last interview, and then even on the phone. There's a couple things that he said, and I'll share with you when we get off, about how to get things done. And he have made me restructure some things on what I'm looking at just from listening to him and his work ethic and things that he said. It's just amazing. But yeah, you got to get people on your team that don't have that scarcity mindset. Sometimes people, you'll be dealing with them and they feel like they just got to hold all the information in their hand. They can't let you in on it. You may do better than them. And no, I don't want to be around people like that. Yeah. I want to be around people who are not afraid to exchange information, give information, have ideals that we, throw at each other, strategize together, network together. That's how I'm building my team. I'm building my team with people who are not afraid.
Yeah.
To work hard, help, just a spirit of help. I think that's the most thing.
Yep.
Just a spirit of help. All right, I get long-winded sometimes. Well, I have enjoyed our time together. Yolanda, thank you so much for sharing your journey on our podcast.
You're welcome.
I hope that this conversation encourages personal growth by discovering the why behind these extraordinary minds. I challenge all our listeners to explore self discovery. Self discovery is a great tool to begin healing and develop personal growth.
Okay.
Uh, so, Yolanda, tell all the listeners how they can support you and follow you on social media.
Okay, you guys, you can follow me on Instagram at Queens underscore talk underscore TV underscore. That's my IG. You can follow me on Facebook at Queens Talk TV. Um, on Facebook. Also, you guys, I am looking and willing to give a shared opportunity for people who create content. If you have TV shows, short films, whatever it is, it could be podcasts. If you want to do a radio show, I have a lot of opportunities available, and I'm looking for people who are interested in furthering their brand or getting exposure. We are available on Roku. We are available on the website at www.queenstalktv.com. Please check the website out. I have the whole network inside of Queens Talk TV. We will be available in the Google Play Store as well as the Apple Play Store within the next couple of weeks. So you guys, please reach out. I'm always available. I always respond quickly, and I'm very interested in meeting new people.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And you can follow me on TikTok and Facebook as Tot Carter, on Instagram as Ivy Tot 10 and Talking with Tot. I'm sorry, I just messed that up from trying to take my glasses off. I'm gonna merge that. This brings us to the end of this episode. So if you have enjoyed this conversation, please go out there and subscribe, rate, share, and leave a comment. Until next time, this is the one and only Tot Carter, a podcast that discovers how extraordinary people find their purpose in life. Do you know what your purpose is? Go out there and find it. Goodbye, y'all.
Bye.